Welcome to CMS Training with EDUCO. In this video, we'll be showing you how to manage blocks on your Drupal site. Blocks are boxes of content that can be repeated on all or certain pages of your site. Blocks are localized into regions, which are determined by your template. When you mouse over certain areas of your site, you might notice a gear popping up with a little arrow next to it. If you click on that little arrow, you get a drop-down that says Configure Block. If we scroll down to the footer of this page, you can also see it in the footer menu and also in the copyright text. So any block that already exists can be edited from the front end. You can also add new blocks by going to Structure, Blocks. Here you'll see all the various regions of your site. You've got, on this particular site, we have a header, we have a help section, a highlighted section, featured, content, sidebar first, sidebar second, triptych first, etc., and various blocks for the footer. As you can see, there are only certain regions that have blocks utilized within them. There's also an area for all the pre-existing blocks that have been created by the system that are currently not utilized in any region of the site. These are your disabled blocks. In order to add a new block, you click the Add Block link. You're going to have to give the block a title. If you don't want a title to display on the top of the block, you can fill in None here, and this block will have no title, but we'll just call this Sample Block. The block description is for administrative purposes only. This will only be viewable to you in the back end, so make sure to give yourself some good information to let you know what this particular block is used for. I'm going to put this block only on the About Us page, so I'll say Sample Block for About Us sidebar. We're going to add this to the right floated sidebar, which in this particular template is sidebar 2. Then in the block body, you can put whatever content you want to appear in that particular block. I'll say this is the content. And if you scroll down, you'll see your region settings. Since we're currently using the Bartik theme, we want to specify the region settings for this particular theme. So I'm going to place my new block in sidebar second. And as I scroll down, you'll also see some visibility settings. You can set the visibility by page, content type, roles, or users. So first let's look at pages. You have the option to show this block on specific pages. You can do all pages except those listed. That means you want to exclude it from the pages listed below. If you don't add any content here, this block will display on every page of your website. If you select only the listed pages, then you can add the alias for the particular page on which you want this to display. And you've got some information down here at the bottom of this block to help you out. So if I wanted this to appear on our About Us page, I would type in the alias of the page. If I wanted to add other pages, I just insert a line break by hitting Return or Enter, and I can put the aliases of those other pages. If I'd like it to display on the home page, for instance, or if I want it to display on the front page, regardless of which page is acting as the front, I would use that code. If there was a certain set of pages that are always started with a certain portion of the alias, say for instance blog pages were always blog / the title of the blog, then I could target all of my blog pages by typing in blog **. That's a wild card. But for now I just want to put this block on the About Us page, so I'm going to delete that other content. You also have the ability to show this block only on specific content types. You can show it only on articles, basic pages, panels, or web forms, and whatever you select will restrict this block to those content types in addition to restricting it to certain pages. Next, we have the ability to restrict it by role, so that only users of a specific role would have the ability to see this block. And then you can also customize it even further to only show it to individual users, allowing individual users to customize the visibility of the block based on their account settings, so they could turn it off or turn it back on based on their login. So we're just going to leave it set to only the listed pages and display on the About Us page, and we're going to save this block. Now we'll be taken back to the general block administration page, which again you can find under Structure, Blocks. You can see here in the breadcrumbs the trail that gets you to it. And if you scroll down to the sidebar second region now, you can see the block that we just added, Sample Block for About Us sidebar. If you want to rearrange the positioning of certain blocks, again you've got your compass link item to do that with, and then if you make changes, you just want to scroll down to the bottom of the page and hit Save Blocks. Now that we're all done adding our block, we're going to close out of this overlay and we're going to go to our About Us page. and you'll see in the right-hand sidebar, this is our sidebar 2 in this template, we now have the sample block that I've created with the content of this is the content. As I said before, if you don't want the title of the block to appear where sample block is listed, you just have to add that none code to this particular block. To turn this block off again, I'm going to use my contextual link dropdown to configure block, and then it'll take me directly into the block. You could also get to this particular page by going structure, blocks, and then clicking on the title of this particular block, the sample block. So if I wanted to, say for instance, get rid of that title, I would just type none instead of the block title. And then we can go ahead and save that block. And whenever you save a block that you've accessed using your contextual links, once you save, it will automatically close your overlay and take you back to the page that you were editing. So you can see that change that I just made. Now my block just says this is the content. Once again, if I configure this block, and I scroll down, and instead of having this, the region setting, having it appear in sidebar second, if I decide I no longer need to use this block, but I don't necessarily want to delete it, I can just turn it on to none. And then if I save the block again, once we go back to our About Us page, the block is gone. So that's how you administer the blocks on your site. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.